Now I welcome Honorable MD Gatko sir to deliver keynote address on this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Rathore sir. Good morning, all. I'm happy to see the overwhelming response here. Lightly we were discussing. Now space appears to be slightly congested when we are transiting. Probably this also needs some kind of financing. I hope you will be here with us in this small room, packed with all intelligent and knowledgeable people. I welcome dignitaries on the dais, Professor Amit Garg from IIM. He himself demonstrates a great transition from earlier working from railways now to academics. So this transition will really inspire entire country and all those who are sitting here, leading towards transition towards green energy. With us today, Mr. Ramana Reddy is with us. He is from KFW. With us, Mr. Chintan Shah is here. He is a founder of a specific platform for transition. This is STUTCRED, if I pronounce it correctly. STUTCRED. This is for sustainable. It's a wonderful thing. It's a new platform. After having long experience, he has entered into this field, and will definitely be enlightened during his addressing various issues. I welcome Dr. Das. He has got long career in different fields, different places. Now he's working with KP Group, who has targeted, I understand, to have 10 gigawatt by 2030. I welcome Mr. Sarit Maheshwari ji. He is CEO of NTPC Green Energy Limited and as well as CEO of NTPC Renewable Energy Limited. You see, NTPC itself has transited from thermal power plant to renewable. Now they are having large portfolio of renewable energies into their account. I welcome Mr. Chetan Bundela, Executive Director, Torrent Power Limited. Torrent is into all fields, generation, transmission, distribution, and this is, entire thing is backbone of energy. We welcome you all. In fact, me giving any welcome address won't mean anything when such learned dignitaries are with us here. I am here to listen rather, and if anything is required from my side, I'll request Professor sir, if I need to add on anything, I'll be happy to join, sir. I welcome you again, and thank you for joining here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, without taking much time, the panel will be like this. I'll provide 5 to 7 minutes to each panelist to provide their initial thoughts. Then we will give very specific questions to each to respond so that we are maybe made more knowledgeable in this process, what is happening on ground. So I'll to please, if you want mic, or you can speak from this mic. Here itself, there is a mic.
Thank you, Dr. Garg. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Garg, and thank you, Pandiji, for inviting. Yeah. Important part, because in this entire journey that we are talking about, 500 gigawatt, going carbon neutral, everything requires money. And particularly renewables is a very capex intensive sector. Now we all know this, for example, in case of a solar, when you have a plant load factor of 20%, 22%, you require 4 megawatts of solar to replace 1 megawatt of thermal if you go on a plant load factor basis. So that means your capex is going to go up. Because there is no fuel involved, the cost of generation is lower compared to a thermal today. But what means that you require a fair amount of capital expenditure, and that's the reason that financing becomes a key parameter for our growth. There are various challenges for the energy transition. One of the challenges is a finance one, But today, as we speak today, India does not face any such problem because you have fair amount of debt capital in the Indian market, and also now with SOFR coming down, uh, uh, which is the replacement of LIBOR, which is an international rate for borrowing in dollars, is already at 4% right now. So the cost of debt is much okay today, and the amount of debt required is available in the market. But when we go forward, this is just a 500 gigawatt is just a start. When you look at larger perspective by 2050 and all, we're going to go for carbon neutrality. And just to give you an idea to the audience over here, if you take the total energy basket of India, only 18% is electricity. Rest is primary energy, oil, gas, coal and all. Now, as we move forward, there is a limitation. We are electrifying to a great extent, but maybe there is a limitation to that also. Like for example, if you have a coking coal for steel making, you require coke. There's no other option of using, essentially replacing coke with electricity there. So if you look in the future, we might go up to 40% of total electrification into the entire energy basket. Still 60% is going to be primary energy. Now here, the solution of green hydrogen comes into picture. So green hydrogen is a Swiss knife. If you want to move from the secondary energy with electricity to primary energy, hydrogen becomes a carrier. And hydrogen is one that can replace actual fossil fuel in the primary energy basket. So I personally feel this, last century was the century of oil and gas. The year before the century was of coal. This year, this century is going to be for renewables and green hydrogen. Obviously, by 2100 or so, I think we'll have a fair amount of green hydrogen derivatives in the market. So the need for capital as well as renewables is going to go up only as we move ahead. We are just scratching the electricity market today. But as far as debt is concerned, financing is concerned, 80% of the projects that are coming up in renewables are standardized projects now. Like you put up a solar project or a wind project, there's a PPA in place, you have a bidding in place, and there are people who can execute this project and supply is available. This mainstay market is now becoming very, very stable. And from the lender's perspective, I can tell you one thing is, lenders perceive this project as low risk as housing finance. There's no risk perception by the lenders because that's what the industry has now achieved in terms of acceptability of these projects, that these projects are viable, are predictable, and are bankable. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Then Mr. Ramana Reddy.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the panelists on the dais and all the as the today's topic is climate finance on energy transition. So maybe some of you may not be aware what is energy transition, what is this new topic, This is nothing new. See, when I did my BTech project, we typed our report in normal typewriter. When I joined MTech, computer has come in, I typed my thesis in computer, printout. So we transitioned from typewriter to this thing. We were using landline, now mobile. We transitioned from normal landline to mobile phone. And now energy, when I joined my career in energy, if you go as a renewable energy expert guy, they used to tell all Ministry of Power guys, oh, these are gobar gas wala or renewable energy wala. And nobody thought that renewable energy will become so important. So therefore, we transitioned from coal and oil and gas to renewable energy based power. Of course, we are still midway, but we will be transitioning. So now this is basically about energy transition. We transition from one thing to new thing. So here giving funding for for transitioning from normal business as usual, that is coal-fired or gas-fired or oil-fired power plants, energy generation, to renewable energy-based power plants. And I represent KfW. KfW means it's a German development bank. There is a big expansion for in German language. I mean, I can say it, but you may not be under credit on start for Wider of Bow. Basically, KfW was set up after Second World War. When Germany lost Second World War in 1946 or so. Marshall Plan, like George Marshall was the Secretary of State. So as part of the Marshall Plan to assist West Germany to rebuild their economy or infrastructure, so KfW was created. Basically, it's basically in the equivalent English word, credit for reconstruction, to rebuild the German as a infrastructure and other things. So once they achieved that, then they have switched to assisting developing countries like India, China. Those days China also was developing country, but now it may not need, but several African countries. So we, in fact, KfW has funded its first project, Rourkela steel plant in 1957. In funding several projects in India. So now currently we are funding 3. And urban sector means urban mobility, that is a metro project and electricity, new electric buses projects. And energy means few years back, and we are funding several projects in about 10 states. We are funding evacuation projects, substations, transmission lines, and we are of course funding several projects. Private sector also, what we do, we give bulk loan to banks like State Bank of India or IRIDA or SIDBI, REC, PFC, etc. Through them, private sector accesses euro currency, and they're somewhat cheaper compared, like we are like similar to JICA, that Japan bank, or AFD, France bank. And we are currently funding Surat Metro, Ahmedabad Metro in association with ADB, Mumbai one line metro, and Nagpur metro we fully funded. And energy, we have funded it, as I said, in about green energy corridor projects. So that's briefly about KfW. Our headquarters is in Frankfurt. We have about 10,000 colleagues in Frankfurt, and we have about 80 offices worldwide, including our Delhi office. I work from Delhi office. So this is briefly about KfW. As session goes in, I would answer your queries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Alok Das.
Yeah, good morning, everybody, and good morning to our panelists and Amit ji. See, basically, I've been telling yesterday in offshore, basically what we need today. Today, our near-term fixed about 500 gigawatt roadmap decided by Government of India, and we have completed almost 243 gigawatt. So balances per year, there is a 40 to 50 gigawatts is required. So how to do that? So there's a government has come with the every state government policies. Any kind of, if you want to replace with the fossil fuel, you need two things. One is the sources, another is finance. Sources has, and also policy. So policy has been defined, and policy in the Government of India, state government, they have come, like you can go to the solar, wind, hybrid, offshore, floating solar, and whatever needs, that kind of roadmap is cleared. So now, if you go on to 40 gigawatt per year, you need up to 2030 about $2.5 trillion. So if it is that kind of fund required, that fund generally required for creating the infrastructures for the transmission network and other project allied services and all. Basically, this is because this forum, there are a lot of things can be addressed because we need finance, yes, and there is a KfW already told so many things. We as a KP group, we have already decided 10 gigawatt hour participation up to 2030. Pipeline is 6 gigawatt. That means, probably you know that we have already raised finance through your debt finance about 670 crore. So while we are going through that all sort of processes and all, I appreciate that if everything is clear, funding is not an issue, what Chintan was telling. So if you create your project deep here, if your everything is clear, funding is not an issue. So thing is like that, how you can approach. So you have to just go for real funding and proper project scheduling and all, you can do that. So now if you see that what kind of clean finance is required today generally to be used up to 2030 $10 trillion, up to 2070 means up to net zero, that is $10 trillion. And if it is 2030, about $2.5 trillion. Mainly it is to be used on and for energy efficiency devices, all these places. So while that this our discussion is going on, we can address much more details. What is the bottleneck? There are certain challenges are there. That thing also we can address it. But today, yes, there is that future is green. What kind of project they have told, because we are going like today, in the renewable energy. Wind works mostly in the night time, solar works in the daytime. So grid needs a discipline. So obviously there is a policy that how come, there's a battery storages come to for the grid discipline. So now today there is a process called RTC, round the clock, that FDRE has come. So there is a year of wind, hybrid, everything is there. So whole gamut. Today they are working that how to develop the renewable energy to replace the fossil fuel. And for that, what is the finance required? That is the forum today. Probably you can learn about a lot of things. There's a generation company, there's a distribution company, there's a developer like us, and there's a funding. So I think this is the galaxy of experiences, and professor is there to lead our role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maheshwari sir.
Good morning. In fact, about the financing and the need for financing has already been well spoken by my fellow panelists. And who better than the Gujarati community who knows sitting in Gujarat ke dhanda kaise hota hai. So to tell you about how to finance and what to know, I think it's a very great place to learn how the business is done from this place. However, just I'll tell you something about renewables. I come from NTPC Renewables. I am the CEO of two companies. One is the NTPC Green and another is the NTPC Renewable. Now together in these two companies, we are planning to put in 60 gigawatt by 2032. So 60 gigawatt, when we speak in these numbers in terms gigawatt, 500 gigawatt is the country's target, and we are contributing to it almost, you can say more than 10% is coming from us only. These projects, when they are put in, they are normally put in at a debt equity of 30-70 to 20-80. That means sometimes the equity component is 30%, the balance has to be funded, and sometimes it is 20% and the balance has to be funded. So ultimately the cost of the capital, that is the debt at what rate it is coming, will ultimately translate into the final pricing of the project. So when we talk about here the green financing, that means we are looking forward to an interest rate which is lower than the market. We can all go to the market, take the loan, there are unsecured loan होता है तो 12-13% लग जाता है, और पर्सनल लोन लेने लगते हैं तो 17% हो जाता है. इसी तरीके से if we are looking for a loan which is for a renewable project, उसके साथ एक वैल्यू अटैच हो जाती है कि ये सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के लिए है, which is towards improving the overall life of the people and bringing in reduction of carbon, that is environment को supportive. So जब ये पैसा किसी अच्छे कार्य के लिए लग रहा है तो ये थोड़ा सस्ता मिलना चाहिए. So in common parlance, if we work out, then we say that this capital, if it comes cheaper by way of green, will add significantly to the value and will help in. Now, just look at the business total cycle. We have the generation, then we need the transmission. Both. So whatsoever we may say that finance is not a problem, finance is the only problem today. If this business can get enough finance at a cheaper rate, then I think all the, जिसमें कहते हैं ना, सारी समस्याओं का निदान हो जाए. तो businessman always knows कि और कुछ भी मुश्किल नहीं है except for the finance. So we have to attach a greater significance to what rate we get the finance from. These finance, as one of my from the developed nations which contribute towards their goals, sustainable goals for this. Then now there is a great element of public-private partnership also that we are thinking, which can focus on this. So these, during the course of this discussion, I know Professor Saab will take us through the entire gamut of things. Just to put the things in perspective again, that India currently needs huge capital to transition from totally coal to a net zero kind of an economy. And as this discussion will progress, I'm sure you would be learning the various facets, the various challenges, what are the challenges, why this is not happening so quick. And now it is also said that when you run the 100-meter race, you calculate always the first 20 meter or the first 25 meter is run at a very rapid pace. Then there starts to be a little deceleration, and then finally those last patches are this. So as Dr. Das said, we are halfway through. Now the second half is going to be very challenging, both from the developers, from the grid, from various challenges, and let's see how things are.
Said, Chetan ji, please.
Good morning to all. Myself Chetan Bundela. I am the Executive Director of Torrent Power. As a Torrent Power, we are in generation, transmission and distribution. So we are basically involved in all the three segments of the entire supply chain. So for us, meaning I see that this is giving the ample opportunities to all the segments, not only the generation but also the transmission and distribution as well. In distribution, in terms of distribution,
may I request to kindly maintain silence, adequate silence here, and kindly, my sincere request, put your mobiles on silent mode, so that my concern is that we should not miss out a single gigawatt, we should not miss out single megawatt, even single kilowatt coming from RE. So this session is great learning. Even I am enjoying learning after a long time when professor is sitting here and so knowledgeable dignitaries are here. My sincere request, let us enjoy this session and take best out of it. Thank you.
Please.
yeah. Sorry. It's okay. So when we are in the particularly as a country, we have set the stage to meaning in a transition mode from the conventional to the renewable or the net zero, what we are talking about. As Chintan Bhai has just mentioned, electricity is the 20% of the total basket, right? Out of 20%, we are talking about only the, meaning we are at present talking about 5. So if we are really want to go to the net zero, then we have to go the long way. And in that context, I see a real, meaning I really support the concern raised by my colleague Maheshwari ji, that the amount of fund that is being required to achieve this goal is going to be huge. And we need to do some kind of, meaning government also, the intervention as a, meaning all the developers or the procurer, all have to come on the same page, and we have to find a way out. Because as a developer, when I go, the requirement is from the lending institution in terms of, they have the bouquet. It's not the only conventional generation. They have also the renewable, they also have the other conventional financing. So the issue is that government also needs to put a focus and they need to give this particular sector as a priority sector lending. So that status needs to be assigned particularly for this renewable energy. So that fund is available easily, number one. Number two, the fund is available within the country, right, at present to meet the current demand. But as Alok just mentioned, when we are talking about this huge demand of 50 gigawatt every year, then the availability of the fund from the financial institution will be a concern. And the other issue is that, okay, we can also tap the the interest market. In interest market, I request all our panelists to just deliberate further on the issue. The fund is available at a cheaper rate, but also we need to factor the cost of hedging. So ultimately, we need to compare, okay, what is the domestic, the rate of interest in terms of the domestic market vis-a-vis the interest market, considering the cost of hedging. So we need to see, because as just mentioned that out of the total the capex requirement, 80% or 70% comes through the debt. So ultimately, the pricing of the final product depends majorly, and ultimately the cost of debt determines the electricity tariffs and the consumption of the electricity by the consumers. That will reflect also the competitiveness of the country, right, in the global market for all our manufacturing or all products. So we need to give all these aspects into consideration, and there are definitely the government supports, national level, central government level, as well as the state level also it is required in terms of the grant or tax breaks. So certain interventions will be required. So with that, I will see how the things
Thank you.
progress.
There are paucity of mics, so I'll have to transfer this. Yeah, so I think very well said. You see, if it is a renewable energy project, solar project, in USA it will get 3.5–4% debt rate. If you set up in India, you will get about 9% or 10% debt rate. Same project, same type of impact, but the rates are different. And because they say you are in India, developing country, or country rating is not so high. So with this, I think I'll go to Mr. Chintan Shah. Gujarat is a RE rich state. We have proved, we know it, we are doing it. Now we have a target of 100 gigawatt by 2035. Gujarat has set a target. Now we need huge amount of finances for this, including for setting up the transmission line, distribution, all the transformer, and of course setting up the panels for this. Maybe more than $100 billion will be required for this in next decade. Now this is a huge amount of money. So my question to you is, Chintanji, that how do you see investment coming towards this, especially also from international multilateral development banks and also from other sources in India? Government will not be able to support all this. Private equity, whether it will be able. So a combined picture I would request from you.
Thank you. I'll try to unbundle this question. I think
please.
unbundling is the cause of the day in power sector. So is the case in financing. See, one thing is very clear. Various estimates put, or various studies put, the total debt requirement for transition is something the tune of 32 lakhs crores by 2032. These are numbers. Maybe you would take 1 lakh, 2 lakh crores here and there. Now the question is where these 32 lakh crores are going to come. It's a short term, till 2032. 5 lakh crores have been lent by various land bankers as term lending to renewable energies today. And there is no problem today on further lending. But the question today is, can they lend up to 32 lakh crore? Is a question. The answer is no. Because renewables is not the only sector for a banker. They have to fund housing, they have to fund roads, ports, lot many other things. So what is important, the sector becoming so big, becoming so mature, one has to now look at money markets, bond market, which globally it happens that way. Now if you go to Ram Milaya Jodi with renewables, the reason is renewables does not have a fuel cost. That means, and most of the renewables have a fixed tariff regime, while interest rates are always varying. When you borrow money from the bank, it's a variable rate. There will be a variation in the interest cost. Either you borrow from international places also, there's a hedging cost involved. But your tariff is fixed. The revenue system is more or less fixed in an auction project. So ideally speaking, you should always go for a fixed interest type of a debt, which only can come from a bond market. That's what happens. Now, India, the total bond market in the renewables is roughly about 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh crores. That's the amount of bond. Unfortunately, the Indian bond market is not developed to the way it should have. We are actually mimicking a corporate bond market. If you raise a bond for a 3 to 5 year tenure, it gets subscribed. The moment you raise a bond for 10 years tenure minus NTPC, it doesn't get subscribed. The reason is people don't have that faith in a bond market, because most of the bond market, being a corporate bond market, does not have a hard asset. This has a hard asset. The only closer thing we are seeing to a bond market is in InvITs, the investment trusts that are getting created for real estate. They've got a hard asset and they're able to raise money on a 10-year or 12-year tenure. Now, this is where the transition has to happen on the financing side also. That means what you do is you churn the term loan, replace with bond markets. Again, replace back the money and get into a new project. So there is a churning that has to happen. That churning is yet to happen in renewables. We've been doing underwriting to term lending. Term lending to bond market on a long-term bond market is yet to happen. Now, this is the way things are pushing right now. Rather, people might be knowing it. Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs has just floated a paper also to give comments on green bond market. What defines as green bond? And maybe they will then ask certain percentage to be allocated by LIC, GIC and EPFOs to be put in this bond market, in the green bond market. Now that is what is needed. See, a price of money is based on subscription. It is not based on ideation. I can always say I want cheaper money. Cheaper money does not exist in the world. If you have more subscriber to a particular money, the fund goes down, the prices go down. You need to create more subscription. That is what is more important. And that is where you need to require a fair amount of movement on the bond market side. Just to give you an estimate, LIC, GIC, EPFO together hold something like 100,000 crores in money, which is not into bond market today. Even if you take out 2% of that, you're talking about almost 4 lakh crores. Just 2%. And if I add private insurance companies, private pension funds, and global pension funds, then there is no dearth of money. Now, this is the way we have to move. That's what is needed. It has to be moved by everybody, by the corporates, by the government, by everybody. So coming to your specific question about Gujarat, I don't see Gujarat right now. I can tell you one thing, being an ex-lender, ex-banker, the moment a project is put up in Gujarat, most of the lenders feel happy. The reason is the utility is good, the transmission is good, and things are well documented in terms of maturity. So amount of effort to raise money to put up a project in Gujarat is much lesser compared to any other state. There are certain issues in Gujarat also, but to a great extent, if you compare all the states together, Gujarat faces a great amount of delay. And actually, Gujarat has to do a lot of work because one of the largest resources here in terms of both wind as well as solar, and you have a green hydrogen hub in Gujarat, in Kandla, and more hydrogen hubs might come up. And we have a beautiful gas pipeline, gas grid over here, which also becomes a transportation carrier in the future for green hydrogen also, to some extent and all. And you have a huge industrial base here, most important. So if one were to set up a project in Gujarat, you don't have to worry about the offtake. GUNL नहीं लेगा तो ओपन एक्सेस में चला जाएगा, ग्रुप कैपिटल में चला जाएगा, शायद कभी फ्यूचर में एक्सचेंज में अलाउ कर देंगे आप, वो भी जा सकता है. So you have no much of an issue on the Gujarat side. And yes, the only thing is we need to now move. Essentially, I would also suggest, Panditji, that you need to deliberate this issue or pushing the bond market. That holds the key to everything in terms of mobilizing 32 lakh crores or 50 lakh crores. It has to go from the money market. It cannot come from bankers. इतना तो नहीं आएगा, कोई चांस ही नहीं है. Globally यही होता है. Europe does that, US does that, Japan does it, Australia does it. India should be going to the bond market now.
Yes, thank you very much for these insights. Now, I turn to Alok. Now, this is Gujarat is rich in many types are also even wind, solar, hybrid, and there also talk going on new technologies. Now, do you see a hybrid RE model for coming which will become more robust for attracting finance? Of course, it is said that anything in Gujarat is like putting your hand in gold, so you will get paid back anyway. That I understand. But hybrid RE model financing, investing.
Yeah, nice questions. And I think what Chintan was telling, really very much appreciated that it has to be gone through a bond market. And our company, I'm just digressing, we have raised already green bond of 670 crores based on the hybrid project. So now, when I say the hybrid project, people are very happy because first thing that whatever project we are doing, it is buying power from GUVNL. So that is your, this contract is for 25 years. So then this hybridization we are doing. So project wise it is very, very correct. And why it is correct, I'll come back to you. And looking into that proposals, Guarantco from London, they have guaranteed the return based on the project. So while they have gone for the project evaluation, they have seen that how much power is coming from the solar and how much power is coming from the wind. So now it is coming the hybridization because what is the problem today in Gujarat? Because whatever, there's a one genuine problem is the land. So if you don't utilize the land in a systematic way, suppose if today one wind, you require 1.25 acre land and solar about 3 to 4 acre land. So now if all the lands are going only for wind sites and also probably land is an issue today. And Gujarat government has coming and emphasizes that co-located. Means a particular place where solar and wind can be generated and fed into the same substation. तो इन पे क्या होगा? इनके अंदर whatever your transmission, that should be utilized properly and it should be fully loaded. Means otherwise if you go for the transmission line for solar is different place, wind is different place, so obviously your the infrastructure cost would be more and your loading of that grid would be not fully utilized. So that hybrid project is tomorrow's answer. But there is one thing, if it is a hybridization, and as I said before, there is a grid discipline, so what they are telling, whatever the deficiency is coming, that power is coming more and all, you add little bit storage system, battery storage, so that you can also maintain the grid discipline. So Gujarat, whatever project is coming, so it should be in the terms of hybridizations. So if it is hybrid projects are coming, so whatever the power demand that whatever Gujarat government had targeted for this 100 gigawatt, that could be met very, very surely for up to 2030. And what we need something from the government about the land allotment policy can be given so that some of the things, both land and the grid connectivity. So if the grid connectivity and land are given in a proper way, already they have given some sort of open kind of forum. So if it is a land you can, and you can go for the grid connectivity. Some procedures, little bit changes is required so that real developer can come forward for the hybridization projects and all. So your questions to you that how Gujarat is set up for the hybridization project, yes, that whatever we are now today, today 37 gigawatt Gujarat. So if we want to go for here, so we need a more land allotment and grid connectivity and grid for upgradations procedures so that all the developer can invest for the grid development.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now I come to Maheshwari Saab. Of course I'll come to everyone, but he's sitting right to me. So Maheshwari Saab, now NTPC is having a huge thermal portfolio, okay? And you are also having a very, very ambitious plan for renewable. You are heading the renewable company of NTPC. Now, how do you see this? Of course, NTPC is a cash-rich company. You can maybe take more pressure on your equity, on your balance sheet. But how could India as a country transit away from coal. We are under tremendous pressure internationally to move coal face down, move away from coal. How do you think it is practical? Whether people talk about, when I went to Jharkhand and those areas of coal belt, बात कर रहे हो, ठीक है साहब, कहने लगे कोल मूव करने के लिए एक जनरेशन चाहिए. One generation is 30 years. Then you require, then you, reasonably. So, sir, what is your take on a company like NTPC to move away from coal and come to totally renewable? I'm sorry, it is not a very tricky question, but please.
No issue, sir. Every tricky question, as I say, if we just simplify the reason why the thing is, यहाँ पर बैठे हुए बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिनके पास डायरेक्टली ग्रिड कनेक्टेड घर में बिजली है, बट स्टिल you keep inverters. Some of them really keep in the larger society even DG sets. So what is the purpose of that? The purpose is the surety that whether you will be getting round the clock uninterrupted power or not. So when we say we have to move away from coal, that is arising from the fundamental thing that coal is carbon and we have to decarbonize, and therefore we need to move away from that. तो इस मूवमेंट में इसको मूव अवे करने के लिए हमको कुछ enablers चाहिए. We need certain enablers. Once those enablers are in place, the transition can move very fast. Just for the information of the house, I would like to share 2016-17-18 में एक जब आरी का ये शुरू हुआ था तब ये हुआ था कि भाई coal will be phased out now. There should not be any requirement of coal. I am telling you that today we are in 25, 23, 24, 24 May, there is now a panic, and again every utility has been told to put in some coal based, to make it, to bring it to 100 gigawatt of coal is now being put afresh. So why this transition in the mindset? This transition is because जिस रेट से हम लोग ग्रो कर रहे हैं उस रेट से केवल रिन्यूएबल हमको शाम को या पीक आवर्स में उतना नहीं सप्लाई कर सकता. तो अभी आपको क्या ट्रांजिशन करना है कि आपने सोलर लगाया, आपने अभी बोले 200 गीगावाट के करीब, हम लोग 200 प्लस हो चुके हैं, 130 गीगावाट 140 गीगावाट ये प्लस रूफटॉप जो सब सोलर है, ये आपको बिजली देता है दिन में. Now what will happen in the night? There has to be a balancing thing which has to come in. And from where that balance can come? या तो आप अभी दास साहब बता रहे थे राउंड द क्लॉक पावर का कॉन्सेप्ट कि रात में विंड से आ जाए आपके पास बिजली उतनी, विंड से नहीं मिलेगी तो इतनी बैटरी की स्टोरेज हो कि उससे आ जाए, या फिर आपको ग्रिड में ऐसी यूटिलिटीज़ चाहिए, चाहे वो गैस इंजन हो, चाहे वो गैस बेस्ड प्लांट हो या कोल बेस्ड प्लांट हो, जो रात में एनर्जी पंप कर सके. So जैसे just Professor Saab just said that coal will take a century to go. So these are couple of things which all of us have to think why the requirement of coal is there. Coal normally 80-85% PLF पे पहले चला करते थे, even 90% PLF. हमारे सीनियर पांडे सर बैठे हैं, जब साहब लोग थे तो हम लोग कहते थे कांटा 90 से नीचे तो आ ही नहीं सकता, और हमको भी यही सिखाया गया था. आज वही कोल ट्रांजिशन होके अभी PLF हम बात कर रहे हैं 60s की रेंज में, और बोलते हैं कि ज़रूरत पड़ने से दिन में कोल जो है बैक डाउन कर जाए 50% तक, जहाँ जिसको हम लोग अपनी भाषा में कहते हैं टेक्निकल मिनिमम, क्योंकि एक ये प्लांट इससे नीचे चलेगा तो ट्रिप हो जाएगा, उसके बाद दोबारा आने में समय लगेगा. तो बेस लोड जो अब हम लोग पहले 80-85 करते थे, ग्रीन ट्रांजिशन से ग्रिड को सपोर्ट करने के लिए अभी 50% तक की बात होने लगी है, 55% टू बी प्रिसाइज. So once we get this balancing, that this 55 which is being coming from this, and as also अभी थोड़ी देर पहले डिस्कस हुआ था कि सोलर प्लांट 20% CUF पे चलते हैं, यानी 4 गुना कम बिजली जनरेट करते हैं एक टिपिकल कोल बेस्ड पावर प्लांट का। तो ये बैलेंसिंग पावर डॉक्टर साहब जिस भी दिन हमारे पास सफिशेंटली आ जाएगी, जैसे आजकल बोल रहे हैं बैटरीज आर कमिंग इन अ बिग वे, batteries can help in the storage of excess power during the day, and then that can translate into the night. This, to my mind, when we speak in about 2070 also, we do not speak about zero coal. आपने कहीं नहीं पढ़ा होगा. We talk about net zero. So there is a great, there's a fine line of a difference between zero coal to net zero. So that has to be understood, and I would also, and I'm also a firm believer with little bit of knowledge that I have developed from the renewable sector, that it is going to take considerable time before we can think about phasing out of coal. This is just one aspect. And then from energy security point of view also, if you see, we are basically a coal-rich country. Coal plant brings in another very big element, which is which is also about the employment, the other things and all. So ये एक safely one can assume that coal is going to stay here for some more time to come. Sir,
Yes,
to
yes. Thank you very much. Means we have to provide cheaper financing for transition. No? So now World Bank and all other about 17 banks, they said no financing for coal. Now that is very difficult. No, if you don't want to finance new plants, okay, we understand. But transitioning, to move away from coal, you have to do so many things. Now it is like एक बच्चा is वो मिट्टी का सेब खा रहा है, अब होशियार माँ है उसको असली सेब दे देगी। तो जब तक आप कहोगे नहीं ये मिट्टी का कलर निकल जाएगा, वो उसको मतलब नहीं है। तो I think that is what, if coal is to be handled, we have to handle as a financial body also. Now coming to, I think on this thought, Mr. Reddy, Ramana Reddy, how do you think governments, financial institution like KFW or big institution and the industry, how could they collaborate? Because you are working, you have a very big portfolio for investment. How do you think these three, industry, government and financial institution, collaborate to expedite this transition towards greener energy?
Yeah, thank you, sir. So, as Chintan was telling, we need to tap bond market. That is the long-term solution, basically to raise money from people actually. KFW, sir, if I may say, make this statement, recently we were calculating World Bank, KFW, ADB, JICA, all put together, we 15% of the requirement of the Indian power sector. We cannot finance entire this thing. Only local banks chip in and finance up to 80% of the financing requirements. And companies like Power Grid, NTPC or REC, PFC, they go for a bond market and they are able to raise around 7.5% approximately, plus minus 0.2%. From the bond market, within Indian bond market, they are able to raise. Rest of the government, state government companies, they are able to raise from REC, PFC at about around 10%, 10 to 12. But I haven't seen any projects getting stalled because of lack of financing. Financing, somehow they'll manage the financing. Maybe sometimes it takes, if your credibility is not so good, it takes time. But normally World Bank or we, KFW, JICA, we kind of invest into any new technologies. If something is coming new, for example, initially we were funding coal-fired also. Nowadays, as Professor Saab has said, World Bank or KFW, in fact, we don't want to see the word coal in our, I was seeing in my earlier job, I think NTPC or somebody in their colony, they want coal-fired colonies, say for example, they want to go for energy efficient lighting, in the colony. But since it is a coal-fired power plant colony, we cannot, the word, for, if you, World Bank board touches coal-fired, you can't, I mean, that thought is wrong actually, because you want to reduce the energy billing of the lighting in coal-fired power plant colony. But that is the level of sensitivity with these organizations. Coal means, of course, in Germany also coal-fired power plants are still there. Lignite power plant. Last year also we visited a lignite power plant, but no new plants are being added. But coal-fired is still continuing. But yes, nuclear power plants they have taken away. Whereas neighboring country France is having nuclear power plants. But in India, I think, as per government estimates, coal will continue or even maybe increase, because every year some 5 to 10% of the old power plants are retiring. So you have to add new plants. Moreover, coal-fired plants now are asked to operate around 50% PLF, 50 to 55% PLF. So what was your question? I forgot.
How can governments and private sector and financial institutions collaborate?
Sir, actually, as far as all these multilateral, bilateral banks like us are concerned, we can only fund government sector projects actually. Government is encouraging private sector participation. If you see generation, sir, hardly any state is setting up solar projects except Maharashtra or West Bengal. I am not seeing any state government directly investing into generation. Generation already they went away into private sector. Yes, even transmission also, sir. Nowadays there is a new mechanism has come up, TBCB, tariff-based bidding system. So now all the even JETCO and all, they also, if anything above 250 crores, they have to tender it out. Whosoever private sector or even JETCO also can participate. So they will get involved. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I come to you, Chetanji. You said priority sector lending should be given by. Now, if we have to see how much government can provide, so priority sector lending, would it
towards the higher amount. So that is what I meant.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the government through the public sector banks or in terms of the production link incentive, some kind of the support that is being given as an incentive, then it will really encourage the higher penetration of the renewable and faster transition.
Yeah. So maybe not directly connected, but MSMEs are a big chain in this energy sector, if you see. How do you think those could be promoted or facilitated by this energy transition? How could they join MSMEs? How could they be facilitated?
So you mean to say that at MSME as a consumer, meaning they should start utilizing?
No. In the supply chain.
Achha, supply chain. So, sir, in that context, I would say when we are talking about this transition, particularly this renewable, wind and solar, in both, if we see Gujarat, meaning for an example, in Gujarat, the people have set up Suzlon has the factory. Similarly, the other suppliers, they have the factories. The moment you come out with the one developer, right, who is setting up the manufacturing facilities, then entire ecosystem is required to be there. So ultimately, it will open up the opportunities to all the MSME to bring that the ecosystem in terms of providing the ancillary requirements of the main project.
Okay.
So that is how the MSME will go. I'm just giving a small example.
Yeah.
At present, already government of Gujarat has given a focus on the semiconductor. Yes. So in semiconductor, in Micron, they have set up the factory in Sanand. Now, immediately meaning around the Sanand, there are other ancillary services which require supports which requires to support the main production. So they have come up. So that way, it gives the many opportunities to the MSME sectors as well.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll also like to pitch in over here. In fact, RE power, especially solar, produces umpteenth opportunity for the MSME sector to come up. And I also would like to inform here that many MSMEs have graduated into bigger sectors out of RE only. So, you know, RE, if you look right from the, in terms of technology, it doesn't create a very big barrier in RE. So RE, you can start with a small capital. You can even start a module manufacturing unit also. You can then scale it up depending upon how you go. Then you have the module mounting structures, which are predominantly being done. Then we have the interparallel cabling when we connect one from there. Many MSMEs have come into this, and it is because of the influx of MSMEs, sir, into the sector, which is driving the pricing also down. So you have rightly said that MSMEs bring in a lot of value into the entire value chain, and MSMEs are also, the more the MSME grows, the more the demand for power also grows. So they are basically contributing both ways.
Yes, yes.
Just I would like to add one more
Yeah,
thing.
please, please.
Yeah, because in Gujarat, particularly this is what we have seen. Like in Khavda, we are coming up with the largest RE park. Similarly, in the North Gujarat, we also acquired. We are also targeting to set up about 10 gigawatt by 2030 in terms of the renewable space. So when you need to set up the manufacturing facility in Gujarat to this extent, as just sir has mentioned, it requires, for example, solar. Meaning, as we know that in rooftop, we need to create a steel structure to put the panels. Yeah, for solar. So similarly, this kind of the requirements will come. So there will be a requirement not only for the manufacturing or the meaning but also it requires the manpower as well.
Service sector.
Service sector.
Transportation also.
Transportation, even the scaling also, sir. Let me tell you, sir, we also need to, as a Gujarat, government of Gujarat has to think through and to set up the skilling center, right, to ensure that the required manpower is available.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Now, I come back to you, Chintanji. You have raised a very important point that whatever we do, we'll not be able to raise 32 lakh crore. Maybe we'll fall short by 25 lakh crore or something. And you said, exhorted that let us go to bond market. Now, how do you think government of India, apart from giving direction to these big insurance companies to come into these markets, how do you reduce their risk? Because they are not coming because they have to provide a specific return to the retirees and all those people, insurance wala. How do you think the practically risk could be managed, and what will be, even if government gives a order, I don't know whether these companies will oblige immediately. Please. Yeah, you take this.
See, as of now, as I was trying to mention, you already have InvIT and rate operating in India.
Yes.
There is no instruction given by anybody. Because you have a specific regulation by SEBI to formulate REIT or InvIT and get it listed in terms of rating and all, there's a hard asset backing it. People are subscribing to it. I'm quite sure a lot of people who are here must have subscribed to a couple of InvITs. I myself have subscribed to PGCL InvIT, for example. Because there's a hard asset there. Now the question today is, none of the RE generators is able to essentially create their own InvITs. RE generators are selling their assets to InvIT. Like IndiGrid is one of the InvIT, which is buying asset and essentially raising money from the market on a 12-year tenure or a 14-year tenure. What is needed is RE generators themselves should have their own InvITs. That is what is needed. That's a transition which the sector has to do on its own. There's no helping anybody over there. What is important is, see, the volume of the fund is so huge. You need to have some sort of a push coming from the government to a direction. And also, if everybody knows over here, none of the bond can be successful without A rating. So that safety is ensured. Now tell me what can go wrong. You have a solar project, a 250 megawatt project, you have a power purchase agreement with either NTPC, GUNL, SECI and all. It's operating for 3 years. Generation is stabilized. DASRA has been created. The rating has been there. Nothing can actually go wrong for the next 22 years. Ideal suited for an LIC, long-term investments. That's what insurance company is about, right? Insurance is about long-term investment and sure investments, annuity. So all renewables are annuity. Perfectly suited for insurance company, perfectly suited for pension companies, even perfectly suited for Islamic financing also, like Sukuk. Believes in a long-term investment on an annuity basis. So you have a Ram Milai Jode here. None of the sector can give you a long-term return which is guaranteed for 25 years, not even real estate. A commercial estate property also has a lock-in period of 9 years only, 333. It doesn't have a 25-year tenure. But over here you have PPA for 25 years. If you go to hydro, it's 35 years power purchase agreement. Again, no fuel cost. This is ideally suited for such financing instrument. The only thing is, we know it is there, we know it is needed, and we need it. Everybody has a role to play, including government. I just not say, खाली government को काम नहीं करना, सबको काम करना है. Everybody has to do it, but it's bound to happen. And ये होगा. The only question is, will it happen in 2028? It will happen in 2029 or 27. Push मारोगे तो जल्दी हो जाएगा. But if you don't mind, I would like to add one more thing. We're talking about MSMEs here. That is something which is close to my heart. Just to give you a perspective, MSME in the industry sector, you have about 8 million MSMEs in India, which is of manufacturing. They constitute 38% of the energy consumption. Most important. And for them, the cost of electricity is 45% of the operating cost. Unlike large industries who can go for energy efficiency, go for transition. Now, unfortunately, these 8 million MSMEs, average connected of 200 kilowatt. You're talking about 160 gigawatt of latent demand. Their need. How much they have done in energy transition? 2 gigawatt. That's it. Rooftop solar, nothing else. They have been left out in the energy transition. So these are the MSMEs who are the vendors, who are feeding their material to the OEMs. When those OEMs, who are essentially manufacturing the final product, are actually carbon heavy. And that's why they have to pay tax in Europe for the CBAM, cross-border tax, which is already imposed now. Now it is important, unless you push green transition in the MSME sector, you cannot actually go carbon neutral. That entire sector has been left out. No, it's not that government is not doing. Government बोलती है 5% inter-subvention ले लो. Government of Gujarat बोलेगी ठीक है, less than 2 megawatt, I'll give you this exemption or. But the fact of the matter, it's not happening. Just not happening in Gujarat, just not happening anywhere in India. So that is something, one particular sector we need to look at. खास करके steel में, because in India, 80% of steel is through recycling, scrap, and they all use induction furnace, electricity only. If you go to Chhattisgarh, 80% of steel is from recycling. Now they are actually using coal. Now those are the people who need to actually be part of energy transition directly. They don't have a good balance sheet. They don't know how to set up the project. And there are a host of issues that comes over there. I think that is something that we need to also figure it out. Because big industries, big IPP players like Torrent and NTPC can always do their show, no problem. Inka kaun karega? They're totally missed out.
So,
I would like to add, Chintanji, as you rightly mentioned about this 38%, particularly the consumption by the MSME, here just I would like to mention that what we understand from the government perspective, they already specified the renewable purchase obligation on the DISCOM. At present, all these MSME are part of the consumers of the DISCOMs. So in a way, and when DISCOM is mandated to purchase the renewable power as a mandatory the percentage of its total basket, already recently they have enhanced the further trajectory, RCO, now they have come out with the RCO, and which goes up to 39%, right, and 43% ultimately. Yeah. So if that is the case, so already the power that is being supplied by the distribution company already includes the renewable component. Now the point is that how to make it ultimately, see if as Maheshwari ji also mentioned that solar power is available only during the daytime. And the issue of the intermittency is known. So as a country also, what I'm feeling personally is that government also needs to make it clear which way they want to go, whether they want to cast the responsibility of the distribution licensee for this transition, or they want individual consumers to make it happen. The reason is that if you ask me, as an individual consumer, if I'm required to fulfill or I have to transit towards a net zero, then it will be difficult because there is no surety about my consumption pattern or my demand, right? Vis-a-vis if I have to go for my own storage and other facilities. In vis-a-vis, if you look at as a distribution, if you say that okay, you have to reach to 50% or 60%, right? They can do it having the basket of coal, gas, storage solution, battery, hydro, so on collective basis. So in my view, because ultimately distribution licensee is a conduit, I would say. The distribution licensee is an aggregator. They are purchasing the power and supplying electricity to the consumers. Now, the issue comes, okay, if you are asking all the majority, certain consumers, particularly by doing the cherry picking, saying that okay, during the daytime you procure the power from the solar, but in the evening hours it is a DISCOM who has to supply the electricity, then it will be difficult for the distribution licensee to manage that. In a way, what will happen? In the evening hours, that is what reflects in the current power exchange rate. In the evening hours, the rates have increased to 8 rupees or so. So what is happening, sir? Even just to touch upon the issue of even the solar rooftop, particularly in the net metering, it is going to be the bigger issue for the DISCOM. The reason is that the consumers have installed. They are injecting the electricity during the daytime in the system. Now in the evening, you are expecting the distribution licensee to supply them. Now that power cost the delta is 3 rupees versus 9 rupees. So that 6 rupees cost is getting socialized and it is to be borne by all consumers. So, thank you.
This is the point which Pandey sir liked the most. In fact, I was saying, because behind the meter, when we say rooftop increasing, he doesn't know how much quantity of energy will come in his grid. So rooftops are entirely dependent upon the persons. So just think from his point of view, how will he manage this grid, which is pumping in extraordinarily amount of RE, and again, as Sari said, coal should go away. Then how will he manage the grid? So, so if you see, the answers are self-flowing in the discussion only. When we move from one gamut to the other, we haven't touched here. We are only speaking about the generation and the finance. But the key element today that has surfaced up is the transmission. The entire grid is in jeopardy today because we are keeping on injecting power which is uncertain. And in electricity, most of us knows that what comes in has to go out. It cannot stay in between. So the moment this imbalance increases, and now today we do not have northern, southern, eastern, western, and we have a singular grid also. So the responsibility for grid management is something that has to be now started to be talking in more detail with this. Just to put in my pain as a developer here once again, that today, because of the transmission constraints, there's a lot of curtailment happening on the RE sector. Gujarat also, Pandey sir will say during the day is asking us to back down almost 40% during the peak hours because there are constraints in the entire sector. Same is the case in Rajasthan. Every RE rich state is now having more power during the daytime than what they require during the daytime because of the load. So, as professors have said, unless and until these batteries, something which can store your power during the daytime and can give you in the night, comes up at a very, very good pace, and thank God, as God is always kind on India, battery prices are coming down day by day. So this is also giving us a very good fillip that we are now into this turmoil, and this turmoil is getting addressed also very fast. So when this will come, you will suddenly say that again the generation will pick up very, very fast on the solar front.
I will pitch in here.
Yeah, please, Alok.
I think it is a very interesting topic has come. Some our generating companies telling like NTPC and all. You see, I'm a chairman of CII Gujarat chapters. Generally, I meet all these sectors of MSME, FICI and MSME. What they are coming today, they are the small retail kind of production setup they are coming, be it textile or steel or whatever. So they are telling today Gujarat government has come with a nice policy of hybridization. So now today, if I am not meeting to my 15-minute generation and settlement issue, I am penalized through DSM. So I am paying money. So in that case, I am restricted towards my journey to net zero. Can really government can keep the frame out for us to penetrate to that season? Because today my rate, HT rate is round the clock operation of, the rate is 8.5 rupees. My production cost more than 40-45% is the power cost. I being a sector of that is MSME, I want to replace that with complete net zero initiatives. So whereby I am ready to go for the investment, and thereby I need some sort of conducive policy and always some sort of facilities from this grid transco and whatever, so that I can replace my total power requirement. What Mr. Chetan was telling, yes, so there is some gap is there, but today because of the hybridization, and because the Rajasthan government, they have come the base as a mandatory, as a policy. So now if it is coming like to that, if it is more than 4 megawatt, they're coming base as a mandatory, 5% base. So something like a captive consumption, if facilities can come to the MSME sectors, they can support to their requirement at whatever way. So now demand is today, yes, we have MSME sectors. I am the most get single entity to create employment generation. We want to freeze our power cost, like the grid parity tariff, which is coming 2.5 rupees to 3 rupees. If such step up comes, I want to load my burden from 8 rupees to 3 rupees. So that is a question mark from all the consumers today. So I think that is what the platform probably tomorrow, some policymaker can decide how to give the comfort. And if it is not there, then this sector, MSME sectors, today or tomorrow they will be facing a lot of challenges, be it Tamil Nadu or Gujarat, where the good captive policies are available. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a very interesting topic overall, financing climate energy transition. So we can go on discussing and various aspects will come. So I'll open the floor for the audience. If any question is there, please specify your name, your institution, and to whom the question is addressed. Please. Mic दे दीजिए इनको. ये मेरा ही ले लीजिए. I'm sufficient.
Oh, you are sufficient.
ये नहीं चल रहा है? चल रहा है तो इस.
I'm Neeraj Mithani. Namaskar, sir. I'm Neeraj Mithani and I'm representing Baprena group of companies. I'm just trying to add some fuel to the discussion. What we were discussing was for a sector which is demanding or contributing just 19%, and for that we are planning and we are constrained for just 12% of their total demand. When we are targeting net zero, the contribution of electricity is just 19%. Rest 80% is yet unanswered, not properly addressed. So that target remains very big. We still don't know who will fund that projects, because that project is right from a paddy field to a dump site and to an industry who is emitting some gases. So everywhere GHG has to be addressed. So it's a huge challenge, first thing. Second thing, what we are discussing right now, the solutions also can be simple. We can start promoting small rooftop wind turbines, 1 kilowatt to 10 kilowatts, which can be placed on high-rise buildings wherein sufficient wind energy is available to move that. That can.
What is your question, sir? I'm sorry.
That is what I am putting it to as a thought. Can't we have a small wind turbine policy for households, rooftops, for industries? So all that. So the question is, when we are so seriously discussing this funding, we are discussing 19%, and out of that 19%, just 12%.
Yeah, the point is well taken, and Indian agriculture is contributing methane and N2O about 18% of total emissions of India. You are right. But then there are different systems. They are dispersed, small and minor farmers. So there is a limitation to put, rather than big industries like we are talking today, it is easier to maybe tackle them, and they're all central PSU or state PSUs or even big industries, so they can take action if they see some positive things happening there. Yeah, sir.
Sir, myself Ashwin Pandya. Formerly, I am in Power Grid. Recently joined in Prerna as a senior vice president. Sir, ये जो सब्जेक्ट इतना वाइड है, आप लोगों से जो डिस्कशन हुआ, ये नॉट ओनली मतलब आरई का खाली लिमिटेशंस नहीं है कि आरई का ही ये जिम्मेवारी है. अगर 2070 तक हमारा नेट जीरो करना है या 2047 तक हमको पावर का जो विकसित भारत का लक्ष्य हासिल करना है, तो मेरे ख्याल से सर जैसे साहब ने बताया फंड की कोई कमी नहीं है. जैसे चिंतन साहब ने बताया कि ईपीएफओ के पास पूरा फंड है, दुनिया भर के फंड की कोई कमी नहीं है. तो सीएसआर फंड एक ऐसा फंड है सर कि जस्ट एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाल के उसका यूटिलाइजेशन किया जा सकता है, ना कि कोई ऐसी बड़ी बड़ी पॉलिसी में बदलाव लाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो उस दिशा में अगर आप लोग कुछ सर कर पाए, तो ये मेरा सवाल था कि सीएसआर फंड इतना सारा अनयूटिलाइज होता है कि कहाँ यूज़ करना है वो सवाल होता है, वापस जाते हैं फंड. तो एवरी इंडस्ट्रीज़ का ये सवाल है सर. तो सीएसआर फंड को यूटिलाइज करने के लिए कोई ऐसा नोटिफिकेशन निकाल पाए.
See, Neeraj, sorry, your name I forgot.
Ashwin
See,
Pandya.
basically every corporate, they have got own CSR fund utilization process. Be it their own diversifications or in the societal reason. So CSR fund, if it is to be created, CSR fund already there, 2% you can utilize. So that fund, how to bridge upon for the creating for RE network, that process probably there should be a debate discussion with the government to that state and how to utilize, and whether that corporate want to just utilize. For example, in our company, we are telling more than 2%, we are creating for, the old age for the disabled person, for the noble clause. So we are creating more than 10-20 crore funding for such type of creations for the society reason. So when it is coming at the developer or in the power creation, all sort of things, obviously that kind of debate discussions required to frame out a policy, how to utilize that fund. Yes, that is a good suggestion. So that is required some deliberation and discussion.
Sir, just
Thank
to
you,
add, so CSR funds, more areas require. For example, Power Grid, your own company, I have seen several schools. They have helped in building several schools around the substation area. It's not that energy, since we are talking energy, it's not the only thing. There are so many other things, hospitals. So I see, in fact, 50% of the money is used by MLA MPs. They'll call the company, how much money you have. We need some hospital here and there. So definitely it is being used. I don't know whether any funding is going back, maybe in a few cases, but it is being used for more needy sectors, not for energy sector, but yeah, for schools, roads, hospitals, it is being used.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
there is a question, yeah? Yeah, please be very quick on your question, focused. Yeah. आगे आ जाइए आप पूछें.
Yeah, specific question to KFW and NTPC Green on the wishing away coal. हम कह रहे हैं coal नहीं जाएगा, then investment in CCS like things would have to come in. So, and that is a huge amount of money. If such banks are not willing to do it because coal का label आ रहा है, where do we see that?
You want me to answer?
True, ma'am. In fact, very pertinent. CCS is required. See, if you see the government policy, it is definitely moving for clean coal now. So, FGD came up primarily because of that only. And I'm happy to inform that most of the NTPC stations have put in now FGD at their plant to support the environment. Likewise, yesterday, if you were there in the main panel in which our CMD also spoke, NTPC has a wing known as Netra, which is into new energy technologies. And they are doing a lot of work into this. And carbon capture is also one. We are also developing a CO2 battery, as he said. So these fundings are coming, going towards that, and a lot of these the issues that you raised are being addressed there also.
Yeah. Any other question? Yeah, you have a question. Please pass on the mic to him.
Hello. Yeah. Sir, hi. Anup Maishri from Michael Page. I had 2-3 small questions. One is that our gas-based power plants have not picked up in spite of a lot of thrust. You have seen the PLFs very low, and you normally used on an SOS basis.
Gas price is very high.
Yes, sir. So, do we see viability for that going forward? Second question is, sir, you talked about grid stability. So that, I think even Europe is facing it. We saw that some blackouts happened in Spain a few months ago. So any solution which you have seen which has been implemented in the West? And third small question is, sir, pumped hydro storage, if you can throw some, highlight as to what kind of challenges are you facing, or is it viable or not? And
yeah. So let us go one by one.
Sure.
So your which one is your first question?
Gas-based power plants.
Regarding the gas-based, as you are aware, meaning already we discussed, because of the high RE penetrations, there will be issue of the intermittency. And to meet with this requirement, particularly we need the peaking stations. As already Maheshwari has mentioned that the current coal-based plants that has been reduced, meaning with the necessary modification to operate at a technical minimum of 50%. Now there is a technical limitation. So here particularly the gas has the capacity to pick up the load at a faster rate, higher ramp rate. So that way it will definitely help. And that is how the government is also coming up. And they'll coming up with the necessary incentive in terms of operating in a day mode, or particularly in the peaking hours specifically. So that way, yes, going forward, the importance of the utilization of the gas-based stations going to get increased over a period of time with the higher penetration.
And so grid stabilization, if you have seen any solution being implemented in Europe or the West, because I think they are also having grid stabilization technology.
For the grid stabilization, it just meaning as we discussed, particularly for this intermittency issue only, like in Gujarat, we have the higher availability of the solar power. Now during the daytime, we may not have that demand. Now to convert and to store it, right, we are coming up already, meaning the state government is coming up with the necessary the policy and vision documents. So accordingly, what we want is that during this cheaper power is going to get stored in either the battery or in the pump storage. So government is also expected to come out, meaning very soon, with the necessary policy in terms of the pump storage solutions. And in pump storage solutions, meaning basically what we are seeing, already government has identified the sites, and meaning we see that that will help ultimately to achieve the net zero.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So maybe yeah. So I'll request for one last thought, wise word, starting from Chintanji.
So I've been quoted a couple of times here that there is no dearth of money. That is true, but more important part is to get the money in time. A turnaround time. When you apply for an application or a loan application, it should come within 2 months. Now that is where the trick lies. Normally money is available. The turnaround time and the terms and conditions in which the money is coming. Now that is where the crux of the discussions are today. Entities like NTPC and Torrent can definitely bargain better with the lenders compared to other people. So it's a tug of war always, because there's not like an auction. It's individual, it's bilateral. So that is where the challenge, and things are improving now, and we need to push it over and over again and again. One small thing which I would like to also add over here, there is always this confusion between BESS and BSP, battery storage and pumped hydro. Both are totally different. Totally different. दोनों स्टोर करता है, आपका स्टोरेज का पर्पज अलग है. Battery's primary purpose is storage. Well, PSP, the primary storage or primary purpose is giving an inertial load for voltage stabilization. Storage is a byproduct. No, storage is byproduct in PSP. You have to understand one thing. पूरे इंडिया में entire solar potential is between two longitudes, 70 degree north and 80 degree north. पूरा strip में आ रहा है solar इंडिया में. ईस्ट में वेस्ट में नहीं है, ईस्ट में ज़्यादा है ही नहीं. That means your solar hours are also same. You have rooftop coming, you have ground mounted coming, you have CTU coming, you have coming solar out from all different angles. From CTU से भी आता है, STU भी आता है, डिस्कॉम से भी आ जाता है. एक ही टाइम पे आता है. What happens? Voltage goes up. सीधी सी बात. If you want to curb the voltage, you require inertial load. Pumping is an inertial load. Battery is not an inertial load. It can give you a synthetic inertia for 20 minutes. That's it. आपको यहाँ पे 6 घंटा inertial load चाहिए. वो खाली PSP दे सकता है. वो बाय प्रोडक्ट स्टोरेज उसका. So PSP is needed. Battery हो या ना, PSP definitely चाहिए. And more, I think all STUs will tell me yes. And STU पे ही आना चाहिए PSP. CTU पे नहीं आना चाहिए. Because load management STU पे हो रहा है. डिस्कॉम पे हो रहा है. CTU तो कोई डिस्कॉम नहीं है ना. It's a virtual entity. So PSP has got its own significance. It has to come. It will come.
Yeah, Ramana Reddy sir.
Yeah, just to add, continue the PSP topic. So, lot of hydro projects which are dam-based project, everyone is adding up a PSP project, be it in Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and in many more states. PSPs are coming up. I think 27 gigawatt is the estimation. Yeah, coming to my turn, as you know, climate finance is needed because we have committed to the world even 2050.
2070 is India's target.
2070 is net zero, but many countries have promised before that. So, Madam has asked me why we are not funding coal-fired, since Germany is practicing, that we don't want to build new coal-fired, and German government is providing the money. So we can't support, because while we are adopting one policy there, so the policy should be uniform. So because in any case, by 2070 there should not be any coal-fired. So we are preparing India for that, from the beginning. Maybe
India can prepare itself. No, we are a strong country.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, एक मिनट ये राउंड पूरा कर लें फिर. क्वेश्चन है आपका कोई?
Yes, sir. So you can have question first. Yeah, please.
Sir, basically I am from HR and legal field. So my question may be a layman's question, but I have a question. And thing is that no one has seen full life cycle of a solar plant or a storage or anything. We finance initially for the project, we derive some cost. In the midway, till the time it attains its lifetime, if there is some technological disruption or some financial disruption in terms of the now international money flow is very crucial. So that will be a big jerk on this whole system. So do we address that?
You have got this question or another question?
This question.
Okay, fine. Great questions. I will give the answer. First thing, let's say that you are sitting in the Gujarat, and when our first wind turbine under 93 policy installed, at least wind has cycled its life cycle. And whatever the PLF we have achieved in the 01 first year, it is maintained the same status quo. Solar has come little late, but the way it is going on, that what is the PLF factor is coming in. So what is we required? We need the revenue, and revenue comes from the PLF. So PLF, as the wind is cycle closer, solar is almost 1 decade all over, and the performance is coming to the level of the satisfaction. We have started our first solar in 1995, and all are working very nicely today. And that time, that whatever the manufacturers, we are doing that then. You can see some statistics in the Charanka or south in Tamil Nadu. So those people, you can see the performance curve. Whatever your product performance and whatever your transmission line, purely it is maintained by your predictive maintenance properly on a regularly. and your breakdown maintenance with the spares management. If your renewable energy, only one thing is possible, if you are completing the 360-degree cycle in your resources, then only your lifetime, whatever your revenue we are guaranteeing, so that is taken care of. Coming back to today's question, what he has asked for 1 minute. Basically, we are developer, we need money, boss. Without money, we cannot do. In our company, we have decided, as for the clean energy is concerned, we are in the solar PV, wind, and this hybridization and battery storage, green hydrogen, every sector we are having. We are having your backward integration because tomorrow something is there, you have to have a backward integration for timely commissioning of the projects. We are doing our structuring for the MMS structures and whatever allied things are there, we have the backward integrations. We have got the tie-up with all sort of OEMs where we can supply for the life cycles. So where it is, at least for 2030 is year 50 to $60 billion is required. So we need money, and for that, there are 3-4 steps are required for the bonding, what Chintan was telling. So if you go for the your normal bank and other thing, so that may be okay, but you have to go for some sort of innovation like bond market. So bond market, there are green bonds are there, blended finance is there, some sort of transition capital, you have to restructure yourself. So today market, whatever demand is there, so probably you have to little bit innovative of your financial structures, and that is why you have to go ahead. Nobody, you cannot depend on others, that how can you have to self-sufficient of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Maheshwari sir.
Sir, I'll limit my thing to only half a minute. One thing that we have missed out is this session on the green climate financing that we are seeing. In the green climate financing, there is something known as the taxonomy of the green finance. That aspect we could not discuss over here. It is because it has to align with the external world. What we call green here may not be what is called green in the European Union. And that is one problem which is coming up of funds from there. So that is one where our government is addressing. It should have come by now, but yes, there is a lot of debate going on that. That is to be seen, which is very, very important for us to have the finance. And from the developer's perspective, I would request that this transmission network be strengthened as early as possible, so that there are no disruptions because of the transmission problems that is here. And from all of you who are over here, right of way is also one thing that we desperately need if the sector has to grow. These are the 3 points.
Yes. Sir.
Sir, I would like to just say that as we are talking about particularly the climate finance, so definitely there is a support or the intervention is required. Already government has been doing, but certain interventions are required in terms of, as I mentioned, about giving the priority sector lending. That is one. Second, in terms of the incentive and tax breaks, that is also required. And the third and most important thing is that there needs to be a clarity about the way forward in terms of the renewable obligation. And the responsibility lies with whom? DISCOM or the consumers, where we want to target. So that clarity and certainty will definitely help all the stakeholders in terms of managing. Because as a DISCOM, today I am also mandated to ensure the resource adequacy in terms of meeting the demand, not for today, but also for the future. Now let us assume that by considering the future, the demand projections, if I tie up everything, and the consumers are, on the other hands, are allowed or they'll move out, then who will take that responsibility and who will fund the fixed liability? So these are the issues which requires the deliberations at the policy level, so that the holistic view can be taken.
Yeah, so thank you very much. And we can definitely take it to the government, because we'll create a document on this. And I hope government of Gujarat is very, very positive, and they will look at it. So thank you very much for very good questions and your attention. And thanks to you for organizing this, for all of us to come together and listen to so many things. Yeah, the session is closed. Thank you. Yeah.
Say a few words.
Yeah, of course.
Come here.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Before we come to a formal Thanksgiving session by Rathore Sahab, I could not really refrain from myself coming and taking just a minute. I request Professor Sir to kindly grant me 1 minute. Time is slightly it's extended, but will not take much time. Sir, after spending time here, I am feeling much richer in my knowledge. This was a wonderful session. How I wish it would have continued till evening. I really feel something has gone wrong with the time. I felt how it has got concluded more than 1.5 hours. I really could not believe that. We wish to have such more sessions in future. If learned panelist and Professor Sir as moderator permit us, we'll very soon organize some more sessions with wider participation so that larger group would be benefited through their knowledge.
You are always welcome to come with your team to IIM Ahmedabad and conduct all the sessions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Sir, couple of things I learned here, which I really, all of us knew it, but it didn't click us much. I find during this session, energy transition is Mahayajna. And everybody puts in their effort here. Transition is taking really in a big way in our country, in fact, entire in whole world, but our country is contributing a lot. Sometime back in a speech of Honorable PM, he said, we were discussing in the morning, what else you can think that coal minister is now MNRE minister in our country. That is a big transition we have seen, and the small transition I said in the beginning. Then I learnt Bond and RE, they are Ram Milai Jodi. It's really a wonderful thing I could learn, and how I wish we'll take it forward. And all those who are associated with this will definitely have a deep thought in this. We really realized, though we have reached half a mark or slightly going beyond that, India has crossed 50% mark in RE installation, and Gujarat has gone almost 2/3. But I came to know here, in a run, आप शुरू का तो दौड़ लेते हैं when you have larger energy. When you reach to end, we really get exhausted, and we need to really gear up for that. ऐसा न हो कि second half में हम थोड़ा थक जाए. Learned, our panelists sitting here, they really talked on this. 100 gigawatt fresh coal plant are also going to be added. And great thing is, net zero is not zero coal. That, काफ़ी लोगों को इस तरह का confusion था, वो बड़ा अच्छा clarify हुआ through this session. And then, as I said, कि महायज्ञ है, सभी इसमें जुड़ सकते हैं. छोटे छोटे startups, छोटे business करने वाले can grow to MSME and to big players in this field. ये RE ऐसा यज्ञ है, उनके लिए भी ये opportunities हैं कि वो भी इसमें जुड़ सकते हैं. सभी के लिए है. Sir, there were many things which I learned, and convey big thanks to all of you for taking pains here and making us enlightened. I thank all the participants also for patiently learning here, and I am sure, like me, you also be much richer in your knowledge by spending time here, and wish to have such more sessions here. Sir has already consented. We'll definitely plan for that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Upendra Pandey, sir. Thank you very much to all our distinguished speakers and participants. As we draw this thematic session on climate finance on energy transition to a close, I must say discussion have been deeply insightful and thought-provoking. We have heard compelling ideas on how innovative financing, policy mechanism, and partnership can accelerate our transition toward clean and sustainable energy future. On behalf of organizers, I extend our sincere gratitude to our moderator, respected Professor Mr. Amit Garg sir, for experting steering today's dialogue, and our esteemed panelists, Sarit Maheshwari sir, Ramana Reddy sir, Dr. Dialog sir, Mr. Chetan Mundela sir and Mr. Chintan Saha sir for their valuable insight and contributions. With the new statement, again I am repeating sir, net zero is not coal zero. We must have to look our formula for energy mix of our state, sir. One more thing, sir, we have learned that renovation and maintenance of existing transmission network, utilization of existing corridor, requirement of pump hydro storage system, requirement of kick-start gas turbine and generator. We will be in contact with you all, sir. As a token of our appreciation, we would now like to facilitate our moderator and each of our panelists with a memento in recognition of their time, effort, and commitment to advancing the discourse on climate finance and sustainable energy infrastructure. I request Mr. Upendra Pandey, sir, MD GATCO, to present memento to Professor Sri Amit Garg, sir. Sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Ajay Trivedi, sir, General Manager HR GATCO, to present memento to Mr. Sarit Maheswari, sir, Ramanna Reddy, sir, and Dr. D. Alok, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I request Mr. Yes. Carry on, sir. Mr. P.P. Saha, sir, to present memento to Ramana Reddy, sir. Meanwhile, I request Mr. Chintan Saha, sir, please mind the object when you stand up, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I again request Mr. P.P. Saha, sir, to present memento to Dr. Alok, sir.
Yes, sir.
I request Mr. Pankaj Suthar, sir, to present memento to Mr. Chintan Saha, sir. Sir, we truly value your presence and perspective, which have added great depth to this session. Thank you once again to all participants and guests for joining us. Thank you.
Very good.
જમવાનું બી થયેલું